Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Samasta jana kalyane niratam karunamayam namami chinmayam devam sadgurum brahma vidvaram vasudeva sutam devam kamsa chanura mardhanam devaki paramanandam krishnam vande jagadgurum Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva Tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva Tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva Tvameva sarvam amadeva deva Tvameva sarvam gurudeva deva. Hari Om. This is the 12th talk, and looking back so far what we have covered, we started the series logically to establish that there are two things that we see. One is the living entity, another is the non-living entity. And the life itself, we are not sure. The light, is the light's getting reflected? The life itself, we have no idea what it really means. But we know that we are alive. Even the scientist who try to analyze the system is alive for him to analyze the system. At the same time, we have no idea what exactly life means. But yet, we see there is a difference between a living entity and non-living entity. And living entity is a conscious entity, and not only, and both living and non-living are existing entities. So existence plus consciousness in some, and other things are inert. This classification we experience every day. And all living beings, we said, are looking for something, and that's it, they want to be happy. So they are looking for, searching for happiness, and in all pursuits from birth to death, day in and day out, they going after trying to fulfill their likes that gives them happiness, and trying to avoid things that they don't like. That raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes, propel them to perform the action or called pravrutti, or avoid some actions that's called nivrutti. This seems to be the life of all beings. And in the analysis of that, objective scientist only looks at inert materials as objective and tries to establish what's the fundamental material. He does not include the total system, that is both the living and non-living, where the life is also part of the total system. And therefore, the life has to be analyzed, but the life cannot be analyzed objectively because we do not know what life is. The tools that are available for analysis are not amenable for what exactly life means. Thus, we have two things in this world. One is the subtle things which cannot be objectified, and the other things which are gross matter. So we have a subtle matter and a gross matter. And both are existing, and in the subtle matter, consciousness seems to be expressing itself, and through the subtle matter, through the gross matter. That's why we have a capacity to think, I have a mind to think, I have an intelligence to analyze. At the same time, I have a body which is made up of carbohydrates, minerals and all that. So this body becomes a gross matter. It came from the food, sustained by the food, and it goes back into the food. Whereas the subtle mind and subtle thoughts and so which are not, which cannot be objectified like other materials, but still they are come under objects, in the sense they are subtle objects which are not amenable by using the tools of gross tools. Therefore, looking at the whole system objectively, and say we have a subject, conscious entity I, and the object, this world, and we establish that existence of the unconscious entities can only be established by the conscious of the by the awareness of, by the conscious entity. If I am not conscious of the object, then the existence of the object cannot be established. It becomes an indeterminate problem. It's only probability, it may be there, it may not be there. It becomes only a deterministic when a conscious entity says yes, it is there, or no, it is not there. And therefore, conscious entity has to be there in every knowledge of unconscious entities. This also we have established. Therefore, existence of any unconscious entity or any object, for that matter, whether it's a subtle or even gross, is only established or confirmed by the knowledge of its existence by a conscious entity. If I repeat again, the existence of unconscious entities or any objects which are subtle or gross, it can only be established by the knowledge of its existence by a conscious entity. Whereas the conscious entity is self-existing and self-conscious, it doesn't need any means to know, whereas for all other things a pramana or a means of knowledge is required. This also we established. All these are logically established to show that I am a conscious existent entity independent of the universe itself, because I can exist as I am and I don't need any means of knowledge to know that I am. I give example of pitch dark room where I know that I am. I don't need to see, I don't need a light to see anything else. And in the process of knowing all other objects, I had to use a means of knowledge or pramana. We have analyzed slowly what are the systematically the prominent the means of knowledge or pramana. Pratyaksha pramana, which is direct and immediate perceptual analysis, where I can see, I can hear, I can taste, therefore the object is there. So existence of the object is established through my five senses operating, but the five senses operate depending upon the conditions available. If there is not enough light, even though I am there, the object is there, I cannot see. So seeing also involves secondary effects are required, or subsidiary conditions are required for me to see. And what I really see, we also analyze, what we see is not really the object per se. We only see through the five senses the attributes of the object. Is there really an object? What is it? Because we are trying to analyze, even a scientist wants to analyze what's the fundamental material. And he keeps trying to find out what is the basic fundamental material. Whereas the scripture says the fundamental material is not really material. What was there before creation is Brahman, or pure existent consciousness. It is called Sat and Chit. And that is infinite. That's why it's called Brahman. Brahman means infiniteness. The word Brahman itself means infiniteness. Therefore, what was there before is pure existence and all, which is same as pure consciousness, which is infinite. And from there everything came. So he itself became many. So whatever became many is nothing but existent consciousness expressing itself in different names and forms. Just as the life expresses depending upon the nature of the material body, if the body is conducive to express the consciousness as well as the existence, it will do so. Otherwise, it will be expressing mostly, predominantly as the body, as in the plant kingdom, and we don't see the expression of subtle things like such as mind and so on. And we go to a anatomically higher evolution, to animal state, we see not only the body, but we know that it has its own mind of its own. So subtle things now being expressed, the same Brahman, the consciousness existence, only expressing in the life form in the plant, but life both as the subtle and the grosser form as the evolutionary ladder progresses all the way to the human being. The human being in the human being form is blessed with not only the body and the mind, also the intellect, that means capacity to think, the capacity to discriminate and deduce and basis on what is available. Therefore, a logical analysis, anumana pramana, becomes a means of knowledge. Therefore, using what I see, I can deduce what I don't see based on the logic. But we also establish, logic itself is established based on pratyaksha pramana. So pratyaksha pramana becomes a prabala pramana, means strong pramana. So even though the logically I can see that there is a fire out in the distant hill, based on what I see that there is a smoke on the hill, I am deducing something that I don't see based on previous data that wherever there is a smoke there has to be a fire. It's not the other way. Wherever there is a smoke there is a fire. And therefore, whenever I see a smoke, there must be a fire. Now I am seeing a smoke, I don't see a fire, but I can deduce that there is a fire because there is a vyapti jnanam. A concomitant relation is established between hetu, what I see, and sadhya, what I deduce. And this is what the basis of anumana pramana. This also we have discussed. And we discussed neither logically I can deduce what is life and what exactly it means, nor the consciousness that I am cannot be logically established, or perceptually I cannot establish. At the same time, I know I am. I know I am a conscious entity. That's why in the pitch dark room example, I know I am there. I don't need any means of knowledge to know that I am there, because I am self-existing, self-proven, self-conscious entity, and therefore I don't need any means of knowledge for me. Against no tools are required for me to know, to establish I am a conscious entity. Consciousness itself is not amenable by any tools. Even though scientists are nowadays trying to see what is consciousness, all they can, when you try to objectify consciousness, you are making into inert, it's no more consciousness. The one who is trying to make it inert is a conscious entity, and he has to analyze himself. That's why Bhagavan Ramana says, analyze the analyst first before you analyze anything else. That means analyze what exactly the consciousness that I am. And we also establish I am the subject cannot be objectified. And also Brahman, who is infinite, cannot be objectified because it's infinite. So infinite cannot be objectified. What can be objectified is only a finite things. But now Brahman himself became many. That's what according to the Vedanta. We also establish Vedanta is a science that deals with both the consciousness as well as the unconsciousness in a indicative way, because it cannot also objectify. All this we have treated systematically as we go along. So now the question is, why do I need all this information? The information I need is fundamentally, as we mentioned, that I am looking for happiness. And we establish, because I am a self-conscious entity, I make three fundamental errors. This is, I am a mortal, I am unhappy, and I am ignorant. And I am trying to solve all these three problems through a process, and showed that by any process this cannot be solved, because I remain as a mortal, because whatever is born has to die. Whatever is born is the matter form, and that has to go away. It goes back into matter, and the consciousness that I am is not born. The mind, subtle body is not born. It enters as though into the body. So how can you do all these things? That's why Vedanta is a pramana. So how can Vedanta prove this also? It proves by using an example of a dream example, where the exactly identical situation is occurring, where when I go to a dream state, I am creating a dream world. A mind that is sleeping in the AC room now goes into the dream state, and in the dream state I am creating the whole world of matter as well as the beings there also. I create the human beings as well as I create even the lions and tigers and the forests and the rivers and the hills and so on. The capacity to create is there because the knowledge of creation is there in my mind. And after creating, I myself enter into the creation as one of the subjects of the created. That's what happens in the dream. It's called the pravesham. That means I am entering into my own creation and entering as one of the tiny subjects in the creation, and looking at the world that I have created by myself. and forgetting that I am the creator and I think I am only a limited individual subjected to the world of plurality there. I think I am saying this is the world and I am trying to run away from the field to find happiness there. So identical situation is provided by the nature itself to compare that there is a problem in the dream. As long as I am a dreamer doesn't know that a dream is a real dream, but he thinks it's real. And only when I am awakened to the higher state of consciousness, I recognize that the whole thing was only my projection of my mind. That mind which was dreaming, the one that went into dream, is the total mind that is a creative power with using consciousness along with the mind, created the whole things there. In the same way, Vedanta says that this even waking state is also like a dream where the creating entered as though one subject in the dream. Now the question is there only one person or there are many individuals in the creation? So when I see a lot of people here, the life is different and so many people are different. But logically, if you analyze it, I am the only subject and everything else is object for me. From my point, like from everyone's point who is questioning it, he is the only one subject and everything else is objects for him to deal with. I can only see the forms and colors, and the matter only I can see because my senses are able to see only the matter. So therefore, from my perception as a subject, everything else is object in the world. And I am the only subject. And from my point, I am the one who sees the whole universe, and I don't see the life in other people, or I don't see even the minds of other people, thank God, and I don't see the intellects, but I can only deduce based on his activities that he is thinking and he is acting with intelligence, and all that is based on my deduction based on the observations that I do. And I am the only subject. From your point, you are the only subject. For every being, he is the only subject, and everything else is objectified. This also has to be understood. So when I recognize that I am the total Brahman, for me everything is my own projection in the totality. Just as when I am awakened from the dream state, all the beings and the world and the matter and everything is resolved into me only. From me it came, by me it sustained, and into me it goes back. The same way, when I realize that I am the Brahman, I am the totality, I recognize also everything is nothing but my own self projected in different names and forms. All that is implied in this. And therefore, why do I need to know all this? Is we said I am looking for Ananda. And now we analyze a little bit exactly why I do and what I need to do in order to know myself. And we are going to do the Viveka Chudamani as the basis of the text, where we use Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati's the explanations or interpretations so that we follow exactly identical process without going into details of all these slokas, only quoting the important slokas that we need in order to know. But one can go back into the text and refer back exactly what we are talking about. All this so far we have discussed is only background, because Viveka Chudamani itself means, Viveka means a discrimination, and Chudamani is the crystal jewel. Therefore it is actually concerned more on a Jnana Yoga. The whole text deals with the Jnana aspect, the knowledge aspect. And we are trying to prepare in order to gain that knowledge. And the scripture starts with those who are only having a proper mental state can go into inquiry. So the preparation of the mind is prerequisite to enter even into this text. So what is the preparation of the mind is also discussed in the text in the beginning itself. But therefore, even being born as a human being, as itself is difficult, so Jantunam Narajanma Durlabaha, that's how this text starts. Therefore, in the very statement it says, I am being born as a human being because of the merits of so many lives. That means the very statement implies that this life is not the beginning. Therefore, there must have been life before. Why? Because I have done enough the merits in the past life to have a situation where I have the capacity, not only the body to think and also intellectually analyze. I've been given a buddhi. So the human being is blessed with not only the body but the mind, which can think, and intellect, which can analyze what is right and what is wrong. And that capacity to discriminate, that intellectual called buddhi, is given. Therefore, the life in the human form is blessing indeed. Therefore, jantunam narjanma durlabhaha. And having been given and want to analyze what is this, what am I looking for in this life, what is the purpose of life, that inquiry can only start for those who are really interested. Otherwise, a lot of people have no interest in this. They want to enjoy life, and one day they kick the bucket. That's all they think is the life itself. Either in terms of gaining the wealth, or gaining the power, gaining the mastery, all in terms of gaining something what they don't have becomes the goal of life itself. But because I'm a human being, I have a choice to perform, or I have to choose in such a way that I can progress myself rapidly to reach a state where I am free from all this. That's called the liberation, or mumukshutvam, or the moksha. That desire to gain that is mumukshutvam is required. So having born as a human being and having desired to get liberated from the shackles of this matter, that's called mumukshutvam. And if I have that, what should I do? The scripture itself tells, tad vijnanartham gurum eva abhigachet. You approach a teacher who is sotriyam brahmanishtam, who is the one who is having studied the scriptures which deals with this knowledge and studied under his teacher, and his teacher has studied from his teacher. Therefore, there is a Guru Sishya Parampara is involved, and also there is a Sampradayam, a methodology of teaching. Because the teacher knows this is a very subtle subject. It's not something I can see. At the same time, I have to see that through what I see. And that's exactly what the scripture says. Yat chakshusha na pasyati, yena chakshum se pasyati, tadeva brahma tvam viddhi, nedam yadidam upasate. In the Upanishad teaches that which eyes cannot see, yat chakshusha, eyes na chakshusha na pasyati, that it cannot see. It's not something that I can see. This is Brahman, or this is I am, because I am aprameyam. I cannot be known. Then how can I know this? Chakshusha na pasyati, yena chakshum se pasyati, that because of which I can see. Because I am a conscious entity, that because of which I can see. Therefore, that itself is Brahman. Not what I see, but that because of which I can see. I gave a simple example of light and what I see. And I look at my hand, says I am seeing the hand. But it's not really the hand that I am seeing. I am seeing that light falling on the hand, getting reflected by the hand, and that reflected light is reaching my retina, and I am seeing only the reflected image of the hand, of the form, and the color of the hand. Because only if it is red color, all other colors in the way are absorbed, only the red is left, and that's why I see objects as a red or any other color for that matter. So what I see is only the reflected light only, but I am getting carried away with this. So if I say yat chakshusha na pasyati, eyes cannot see, but because of which I can see, it is eyes cannot see the light. I am only seeing the hand, but it is the light that I am really seeing, that because of the light only I am seeing. That light is what it is. In the same way, it is a light of consciousness that illumines the thought in my mind. It's not the thought, but it is that because of which I know the thought. every object forms a thought in my mind, and the thought I know, therefore I know the object. So the knowledge of every object involves senses bringing information, attributes to the mind, and the mind forming a thought in it, and the thought contents are the attributes of the object. So existence of the object is as though transformed as existence of the thought in the mind, and I am illumining consciousness. The consciousness and the existence joining together for me to be conscious of the existence of the thought, and therefore conscious of the existence of the object. All that is involved in simple perception, which we discussed as a perceptuality condition that was discussed in the Vedanta Paribhasha written by Dharmaraja Advarinda. All this we have brought in. So therefore, I need a knowledge, and I had to approach a teacher. But before I approach a teacher, Scripture says, make sure your mind is worthy to know. That means I should have the capacity to understand this. So we are talking about the knowledge. Now we are talking about the knowledge. Scripture says there are two types of knowledge. One is para-vidya and is apara-vidya. Para-vidya is supreme, apara-vidya is transactional knowledge. Transactional knowledge is knowledge. Hey, this is a chair, this is a table, this is a food, this is a garbage. I need that knowledge to transact in the world. Even though fundamentally from the scientist point is nothing but electrons, protons and neutrons. Everything is nothing but electrons, protons and neutrons. Yet the packaging is different. The food is food, delicious food is on the table is different, garbage is garbage, even though both are electrons and protons and neutrons. So even though I know oneness that pervades everything, that is, I know there's nothing but fundamental particles, yet I have to use a discrimination at the level of my transactions to reject that garbage and only take the delicious food. And that discriminative knowledge at the transactional level is called apara vidya. And now we are not talking about this knowledge. This knowledge is important for my transactions. All scientific knowledge comes only under this knowledge. We are talking about that which is both involves the subject and the object, which is called paravidya, supreme, because knowing which there is nothing more to know. Yajñatva naparanyeyam. Knowing this, the Shankara says, knowing this, there is nothing else to be known. And that is what we are going to deal. And for that we need a proper frame of mind, and what we call a purity of the mind is required. And how do we get that? Viveka Chudamani doesn't discuss, because assume that you have those. So we go into the details of how we can get the purity of the mind. We'll stop here. We'll do the Santi Pata now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Apanama.